a very interesting thing, if you go out there, to ask any Palestinian, I don't mean the upper class Palestinian who has been educated to accept what the West wants. I mean the Palestinians of the camps, the Palestinians of Gaza. Say to them, look, you're fluent in Arabic, you're fluent in English, you're highly educated, what the hell are you stopping here for? Because if you ask them that question, which I did a long time ago, you'll say, we are stopping here until we get that back. And that is what was taken from the Palestinians in 1948. They are there to bear witness that that was snatched from them in 1948, and they're not going to move. And this has been passed on from generation to generation. They're not going to move out of those places until they get the land that was stolen from them in 1948 back. That's the actual fact of the matter. Just ask one of them. Just next time somebody's out there, just ask someone.
I think most of my older comrades who worked with me for close to 40 years, they would remember that we never ever accepted a two-state solution. We accepted only one state. We always wanted a secular state of Palestine where Jews and Palestinians can live together with equal rights, equal civil, judicial, property, etc. Rights. And it's a measure of the kind of racism that underpins the Israeli society and the Israeli state. You see their sophisticated representatives writing in the Financial Times saying, if Israel has got to be a Jewish and a democratic state, they must partition. In other words, they want a theocratic, racist state, which is really, after the defeat of Nazis in the Second World War, it's strange that people actually want to put forward a racist, purely racial state of a certain people. If Ahmadinejad made that statement, you can see how our press barons and their flunkies on 100 to 200,000 pounds a year would be fulminating against such a statement. But that's precisely what they're saying. In order to have a Jewish state, you must actually cleanse it of the alien material, which means the Palestinians whose land they've actually stolen. Not only do they not want more Palestinians, there are 1.2 million Palestinians living within the state of Israel proper. And the attempt now is to make them move. Now, it's like the big developers see a poor working class district which is very close to Knightsbridge, and they can't wait to get their mitts on it somehow. And something like Hurricane Katrina, as it came in New Orleans or something, is always a good occasion to move them on. So they're trying to find a way to do that. They will not succeed it, but they're nevertheless doing it. But the Israelis, like all exploiters, they really resemble the fool in the Chinese folklore who is forever lifting a rock every time to drop on his own feet. They're doing that. They didn't want to recognize Hamas's election victory. So what do? They force Hamas into a position in Gaza and cause divisions with Fatah and open a fight there. And what is the result? Hamas have, no matter what the siege is, Hamas have essentially established a Palestinian state in the Gaza Strip. So something that they hate most has actually, as a matter of fact, been established on the Gaza Strip. It's not big enough, it's not a satisfactory solution, but nevertheless it's a solution which draws the wrath of imperialism and of Israel. That's why they want to see Hamas finished. Not because Hamas is fundamentalist. I mean, there are plenty of fundamentalists in the United States. Try and visit the United States of America. You see these nutcases everywhere. You know, there are plenty of fundamentalists. You don't have to be a Muslim to be a fundamentalist. There are Christian fundamentalists. And what could be more fundamentalist than the former Prime Minister of this country, Blair, and the former President of the United States, George W. Bush? I mean, you saw him in front of the Chilcot inquiry yesterday. And he was, actually, I think he believed it. We had to remove Saddam Hussein because of such a monster. By that standard, foreign armies should be invading Britain and America to remove these monsters that are our prime ministers and presidents. What could be more monstrous that you get up, you go to another country, you overthrow the government of that country, you try its leadership on some rigged charges, and you have them executed, right? What needs to happen is, how would the people of this country like if, for example, a Taliban army had invaded Baksha, and they were going around with all the clothing that they wear, big turbans, AK-47 going around, they would look no more strange than our soldiers in the fields of Afghanistan and Iraq. They just look just as peculiar. They have no place to be there any more than Taliban have a place in Baksha to be coming to tell us. And I think we need to actually take it to people what is taking place, and what the Hamas movement have done in Gaza, out of necessity, is actually create a prototype of a future Palestinian state, which actually would deal with matters calmly, quietly, and justly. No matter how difficult their condition, they're able, nevertheless, to provide the wherewithal of day-to-day existence for their people. And that's what will happen. And pressure must be put on the Abbas leadership in the West Bank, that instead of fighting against their fellow Palestinians, they should actually be getting ready to fight against the Israelis and not the fellow victims of that aggression.